Coming to you on 99.9 FM, LCCR.
It is Limerick City Community Radio, and delighted to be joined by two very, very talented and slightly quirky and innovative musicians and voice coaches and so on. Dr. Caren Hession is here in studio with us. Hiya, Caren.
Hello.
And on the Skype line, we have Joshua. Now, Joshua is somebody who may or may not be familiar to people because he's kind of behind the scenes on big acts like Little Mix and Fleur East. It is Joshua Alamu. Joshua, you're very welcome to Limerick City Community Radio.
I'm so thrilled to be here. Thank you for having me.
I think it's the other way around, but we'll hold that up. Now, first of all, Caren, you're from Galway, and
yes,
you're involved with Joshua. We'll get to that in just a few moments in relation to the Mad About the Voice Ireland. But you're musicians, and you were involved in a couple of areas of music. What was your interest? How did you start in music, and how did you start in getting involved in teaching?
Ooh.
Three questions in one.
Yes, so I suppose I've always loved singing. I started singing in Galway years ago. I started training. I've been going to vocal camps, and that's actually where I met Joshua. And I think his teaching style and his singing style just blew me away completely. And I told him we needed him to come to Galway, and I think that's how Mad About the Voice Ireland started. And then I suppose on the other side of that, I was also doing my PhD looking at rhythm and beat for children with special needs, and it was in equine therapy, and there was no research on horses for equine therapy, so I started looking at music. So kind of on both levels, it was kind of there, I suppose, and then the singing side just took over. Okay. Now, when you mentioned there that you'd gone across and met Joshua in Poland, I think you said it was. Now, when you got together, you were doing, as you said, rhythm and music and stuff like that, particularly for special needs, but it was equine therapy, and it was teaching kids rhythm using horses. Yes.
Is that right? And now, you were then blown away by Joshua. Joshua, you came across this Galway lady in Poland. What was your take on somebody who teaches rhythm with horses? Obviously, you clicked. Was that part of it? Was there?
No, sometimes you come across individuals that are just a little strange, just a little weird.
Thanks, Josh.
And she was one of those, But I think what really impressed me was, she hadn't really had so much training, but she had this incredible, I guess, a gift to write songs, no music involved, just really interesting lyrics and melodies. And we call that top lining. Okay. So that's when you're able to write a melody over some music. And, I just felt like she had some really great ideas. And then I heard her sing, and I thought her voice was amazing, and decided to put some music to one of her songs, and just the response to that was incredible. So I just felt that, I'd found somebody or met somebody who not only shared my interest in studying, what they love, but just had a real keen interest in music as well, and kind of needed my help as well. So
badly.
The knight in shining armour was there as well. What was it like there, Caren, when Joshua came in? You said you'd written a few songs, and Joshua put the music to them and stuff like that. Was that part of the click as well, where you got that song? Yeah.
So I never discussed that actually, but because we were chatting earlier. But so I had actually written some songs that were in a box that nobody had ever seen. And when I met Joshua, he started to play, and something in me, I just felt like he really felt the music, and he really put across it in his vocal. And it was something that I was used to because I was so trained in being technically great that it wasn't about breaking the rules. So I decided when I met him that I was going to take my songs out of the box, and I had written a particularly sad song about a sad event in my life, and I took it out and I sang it for Josh, and just right there he's like, oh, just sing it again, and he just played. Right. And the music was done. Yeah, because that's one of the things that does happen, and particularly you said yourself that it was a personal song. It was something, then it is private first of all, and then you're feeling exposed if you actually play that to somebody for the first time or something like that. And in addition, what you had in mind or what was ever in your heart as the time you wrote it or you envisaged it, it's hard to tap into that because somebody can get it very slightly wrong, which still has potential,
and it can feel completely wrong. Joshua, what was your take on that when you had to do that? Will it say, did it just click as to what you reckon
really
the song should be?
It really just clicked, and I've had situations before where, you know, I've maybe been messing around with a certain chord progression, and it just happens to fit something. So this particular chord progression, I just tend to love it. And the minute I heard her song, I was just like, that I can hear it fitting in my head. So I wanted her to just keep singing it, just to check that all the different, you know, minor chords and sevenths and ninths did fit. And when it did, it was just, it just, I felt it was almost like everything she wanted to feel and get across in the song came across once her vocal and my music came together.
Yeah.
So I was very happy to go, yeah, man, like just take it and let it be the song, you know, that's cool.
Now, just to clarify for any of the listeners, because they maybe hear one or two things in the background, you were mentioning chords and stuff like that. I think because you're on Skype and the quality is pretty good, we're getting the occasional Skype chord in there, so apologies to our listeners for that.
He's very busy.
He's very busy, very friendly. Now, that was how you met and obviously how you clicked, which is obviously a big part of it. And then you persuaded Joshua to come to Ireland to set about Mad About the Voice Ireland. What's the story there? What do you do?
So Joshua is actually mad about The Voice, and then I wanted him to come to Ireland because I felt that people in Galway needed to experience his type of teaching. We actually nicknamed him Joshua Magic, and if you were in his presence for like 5 minutes, you would know exactly what we're talking about. And I think that, so I got him to come over to Ireland, and we started to work with a few singers there. And it's just his teaching style and his philosophy, and it's all about making mistakes and really experimenting with your own sound and getting your unique style, and then doing that with vocal excellence as well, and trying to develop the technical side, but with the freedom to express.
Right, because Joshua, you mentioned there that you'd been trying stuff that you, and Karen had mentioned as well, where we'll say somebody makes a mistake and then that mistake kind of takes on a life of its own. Where do you kind of? I think, Karen, well, actually, your exact phrase was that you were too stuck on the rules, where
Yes.
you were very rigid in terms of the rules. There is a huge thing in relation to lots of activities, and music being one of them. It's probably different because it's expressive, but you need to know the rules and the fundamentals, and then let yourself loose. If you don't know the fundamentals, you get it wrong.
The problem is a lot of teachers know the rules, but they don't know how to teach you to break the rules. And so I've worked with lots of teachers who could teach me the rules, but I never met anyone like Joshua who could show me how to break the rules.
Right. And you hadn't been in that mindset. You hadn't really wanted to. You
well,
were saying,
actually, it was something I was definitely drawn to. And when he started, I was like, oh, this is it.
Okay. Joshua, what's it like to be encouraging people to break the rules?
It feels kind of scary. But I know that at the end of it, there's going to be a sense of freedom, a sense of liberation. I think people are sometimes so afraid to make error because they feel that they're going to be judged straight away, or they're going to be considered by other people not good enough. But what people needed to really understand, and this is something that I just picked up, not because I read it, but you know, I've read a lot of different books, but I lived it. And that is, you know, if you look at a child, like a child is never just going to fall down and not get up again. They're going to keep getting up. And there's a sense of wonder and fun and adventure about doing that. And I think learning, that it's just called learning. Learning is about screwing up all the time. But through the screw ups, your mindset has to be, what am I learning here? What is different? What can I improve? What can I get from this? And if those two kind of things come together well, then the progression happens. And even though it feels horrible and it feels muddy, what people end up realizing at the end of it is that they come through the mud and into something really, really beautiful.
Because it is interesting, because we say somebody who's always had everything go right for them never knows how to react when something goes wrong.
It's also a life skill, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Absolutely.
And the other thing, even in business, you've got somebody trying to invent this particular glue. It doesn't work properly, and it becomes a post-it, and it takes on a life of its own. So we don't apply this stuff often enough, and when it's being creative,
you don't praise people to actually explore that area enough. And I think that when people are encouraged to explore that area, they start to figure out who they are themselves, and then they just start to develop their own authentic style on whether it's music or whether.
there's a big thing in someone making a mistake and someone going, "That's brilliant, keep doing it," and someone making a mistake and someone else going, "That's horrible, don't do it."
Yeah.
There's a big psychological impact on what happens to that person's development. And I love the fact that you can celebrate the fact that not that someone gets it right, but that they try.
And in particular, then when you're building that on, we say, a solid foundation where, as you said, you do introduce the rules. It's not like it's completely haphazard, because we've seen that with lots of teaching, we say, where people are concerned in relation to hip hop dance and stuff like that, that some of the fundamentals of dance and stuff like that aren't in there. But if those are there, then by all means let loose and express yourself.
Well, I think the technique makes more sense then, for me.
Yes.
Yeah. So
the technique is there to enable you to express yourself. That's what technique is there for, to enable you to be able to break the rules.
Yeah. Now, when you came to Ireland, we'll say, for the first time, what was the first time that Caren brought you over to Ireland, Joshua?
Yeah, it was actually, wasn't it, Kaz?
2014 it was, and it was a June time.
Okay, so that's
So we did
what,
our
2 years
first
ago?
workshop, and we've done one every couple of months. And I suppose when I finished my PhD, I kind of took over Mad About the Voice Ireland, and Joshua is now coming back for our first students showcase.
Yes. So fill us in on that particular one. Either of you want to take it, Caren, Joshua?
Well, I suppose I'll start. So it's on Wednesday, the 6th of July, and we have a studio in Limerick, and we have a studio in Galway, and our Limerick singers are going to come to Galway for the event.
Okay.
And
so they get the junket. Okay.
Yeah, and Joshua's going to come over and he's going to open the show. I think that's a really good opportunity for people to meet Joshua, who's never met him before. He's an incredible character. I'm so grateful to have met him, to be honest. And I think that in just 5 minutes with him, you learn a lot about yourself, and you also learn a lot about music and singing and any other thing you may be interested in.
Right.
So I think that it's going to be good. He's going to have an opening speech for everybody and doing a pre-show event, and well, hopefully it'll hit off the ground.
Okay. And Joshua, would say one of the things there, and the risk now of somebody getting embarrassed and stuff like that on the phone, but even the few minutes talking to you on the phone, you don't even have to be here, and it's kind of, I like his style, I like his philosophy. So that is coming across, and hopefully it's coming across to the listeners here as well. You're looking forward to Galway?
I always do. I love Galway. I just don't always like the weather, but...
well, you've just missed a fabulous week. We will say that. The clouds are up there tonight, but nonetheless...
He's also been to Limerick as well, and I'm going to bring him back in September, October to do a workshop in Limerick as well. Okay.
So, would say your philosophy, Joshua, and obviously, particularly when you're coming over to people for the first time and they haven't met you, we've heard a lot about, we'd say, your approach and how you actually get the best out of people and teach them the rules. What can people expect on that particular day? Now, obviously not completely giving the game away, because there'll be a little bit of surprise in it, but where...
it's fine, yeah. I mean, meeting people for the first time, some of these people are... they'll be getting on stage for the first time, some of them. It's a big deal. It's a really big deal. And, one of the things I love is whether I'm working with somebody who's really established and signed or whatever, or someone who's up and coming or just starting out, for me, it's the same thing. There's always nerves involved. At the end of the day, we're human. And I feel that it's a really important thing for someone who has experience to come in and just give the right kind of the right kind of sunshine and water to a plant, because I've been in situations where in the past, a teacher said something that was totally off key and out of order, and it sent me down the wrong way, and then someone else came and said the right things to me, and it put me on the right path. So those things can really influence the next steps we take in our lives, forget music, in our lives. So I want to be there to be able to give the right inspiration, the right motivation, the right mindset, so that they can all go in the right way and feel that they're taking the right direction, not just in music, but in life.
Yeah, because there's an old song in terms of like flowers are red, young man, green leaves are green, where somebody was saying, here's the rules, stick to them. And you didn't have that creativity. Right. Now, like one of the things that you'd mentioned there in terms of letting people grow and letting progress, I hate saying we had the chat about this off air, but Caren and myself were talking, so apologies for the listeners for this one. But I'd mentioned the fact that if you're helping people to grow and helping people to become who they can be, either, as you said, in life or just in music, that the word grow implies that there needs to be something there. And Caren corrected me here in studio, and I was delighted to be corrected, because she said, oh yeah, that is true, but you've got to plant the seed. So the talent may or may not have to be there in the first place. So it's not like you're necessarily nurturing something that's there. You could have planted the seed.
I think the desire is probably there, and the passion for something, for music, whether they have a brilliant voice or not is a different thing. Joshua likes to talk a lot about habits and instilling habits, and how talent is not, well, it's actually from a book, but talent is not born, it's grown. So it's teaching people how to get to that level.
Yeah.
And also, one of the things that we both like is that seed, the best water that you can put on that seed is actually belief, and instilling them with a sense of belief in themselves and their own talent.
Yep.
And then helping them grow that talent.
It's just kind of applying something like that as you say this, and both of you say it, there's a lot of stuff that makes sense there in terms of, I would never have thought of doing that. And you'd apply that to somebody maybe trying swimming for the first time, or trying horse riding, and it's kind of, I couldn't possibly do golf, and say, come on,
give it a go.
You've planted that seed. But that's something we don't generally associate with talent. We kind of assume talent is there kind of to begin with.
No, I think you're right. The gift is the fact that someone plants the idea. If you think about it, we're not robots. We're in where we have to put sort of a microchip into the head, and then we're downloading all these different skill sets. With everybody who is able to achieve anything, where do they get that from? It's learned. It's something that they've had to physically or mentally learn and drum into themselves in order to become skilled at something. But it has to start with one thing, and that's true. That's a certain seed, and that seed is the desire or the willingness to want to try it. Yeah,
because as I said, there's so many contradictions that kick in when you're talking about talent and talking about creativity. And one of the ones is where somebody would say maybe has a natural talent, just to phrase it as openly or colloquially as we can. Yeah. And then somebody else has got a hell of a lot of hard work, who maybe didn't have the natural talent. And we tend to gravitate towards the first person, even though they got it easy.
The thing is, though, sorry, Josh. The thing is, some people have different desires as well. Some people want to be the next big thing, and some people just want to put across their song.
Yeah.
So who's to say that the person with all the talent, as you say, wants to actually be the star? Maybe it's the person who doesn't have the initial huge talent, but puts in all the hard work. Yeah. And I guarantee you that person will probably go as far, if not further, than the person who supposedly has a natural born talent. Do you know what I mean?
But it's basically everyone's different abilities. I'm not a big one into saying like somebody's disabled and somebody's special needs and stuff like that. Yeah. Because everyone, be it a small bit of OCD, be it over anxious, be it whatever else, everyone has all of this spectrum right across the board.
And different goals.
And different goals, yeah. So it's about getting the best out of what somebody's capable of.
Helping them reach their potential. And the other thing we always talk about is that all that answer is already within the person. So it's getting that out. And that's what mentorship...
Getting very profound now.
That's what good mentorship is all about. And that's what Joshua stuck out for me when I met him. It was his mentorship. He has the skill and he has, everything else, but it's how he teaches the skill and how he mentors the skill. Yeah. And I suppose that's what he's trying to put across through Mad About the Voice Ireland. And he's coaching me at the moment as well in my voice and also in my teaching. And that's what I hope to bring to the singers in Ireland through Mad About the Voice Ireland.
Now, both of you seem to, it does seem to be that you and the students end up being a collaborative. We're working this together to work with it. Would that be fair enough to say? Yeah?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Now, one of the things there is that if you're teaching somebody, you're kind of, okay, he knows his stuff, I'll respect him. She knows her stuff, I'll respect her. But then you've just mentioned that you're learning as well. You're learning, say...
Every day.
Going. Well, that's true. That is very, very true. So is that part of the appeal? Is that part of the process that you guys have, where while you know enough to pass that on, that it's kind of, well, I'm right there with you because I'm learning something new as well. So if I can keep learning, you can't. I'm not claiming to know it all.
Yeah.
How do you get that one across to people who are supposed to, well, you're supposed to know what you're doing?
I always say to people, if your teacher's not learning, don't go to them. I actually always say that to people.
Right.
Because unless that teacher's evolving as well, otherwise it's only going to take students so far. Mm-hmm. And then you can't take those students anywhere else.
Okay. And Joshua, there's obviously a connection with the philosophies that you have. You concur? Anything to add to that?
Yeah, totally concur. I think, for me, what stands out to me is when another mentor of mine actually said to me, you know what, Josh, good mentoring is about showing your strengths and your weaknesses.
Mm-hmm.
And that really stood out to me. I was just like, wow, okay, it's not about appearing perfect.
Yeah.
It's actually about giving them the insight that, listen, you need to understand what I was like before 20 years of hard work, before this. Let me tell you a story. Let me tell you what I used to be like. Because if I can do it, I'm telling you, you can bloody well do it. Because you're more talented than I was at that age.
Yeah, and you've so much stuff there in terms as well. Like, obviously, you want to show to people you know your stuff. You want to be able to do things and pass that on.
Yeah.
But part of it is, as you said, about making mistakes, getting it wrong, saying, right, I've learned something from that mistake, or saying from that mistake, oh, well, okay, we won't try that again, because, and either way, you've learned what to do with it.
Absolutely.
But if the students don't see the teacher doing that, then they haven't learned how to react as well. That's a big part of it.
Exactly. And it's so important for them to see, because if they feel that they have to emulate this idea of perfection, then they're already, setting themselves up for a huge fall.
Well, you would, because we'll say we've had people coming in and out of the community radio station here, people who's their first time doing it and so on. I'm at it a few years, even though it may not show, but I'm at it for quite a few years, and I shouldn't even say how many. But you've got people who are here, I'm here a year, and they're beating themselves up because they think they should be better or whatever else. And yet, they're only in there every weekend. And if that was an ordinary 9-to-5 job, you'd be saying, well, actually, you're here a week. If you were here the following Monday and you thought you knew it all, everyone would be kind of go, who did they think they are? They've only done it for 30 hours, 40 hours or whatever in that year. So, if things are perfect, you kind of, I don't fit in. I wouldn't be good enough. You'd probably do that for the local indoor soccer club. It's kind of, they're all really handy. I couldn't bother going down there because I'd make an idiot out of myself. Joshua, sorry, Egypt is an Irish version of idiot, just to clarify.
He's met that word before.
Is there a story as to when? No.
There was he didn't understand it the last time. I had to explain it to him before.
Okay.
It's all good.
I was like, you can't keep calling people idiots, man. It's not right.
Well, she didn't. She used an alternative word. So she did follow your direction there as you being the teacher,
Exactly.
Joshua.
Oh, stop.
Yeah. So anyway, this is on in Galway. As you said, the date in June? You said the
6th of June. It's on at 7 p.m. It's in the Loft in 7 Bridge Street. And as I said, Orla's going to be one of our singers who's going to perform there.
Now, Orla has been very, very quiet so far because Joshua, she... Is it safe to say?
She's in awe.
In awe, yeah. And she's been very, very quiet, which means, Joshua, when you do call over, you'll probably end up being... Well, babysitter's a bit unfair, Orla, isn't it? You're old enough at that stage. But sitting quietly in the corner. Orla, you're heading up to this?
Yeah.
Yeah. And Joshua, I think, we sent on the Travelling Soldier because you were in Limerick's Got Talent. You've been on stage. You'd a very, very good rendition with Amanda of Travelling Soldier that we love playing here on the station. Joshua, you've heard the track, haven't you?
He hasn't heard that one.
Oh, you haven't heard that one?
He's heard her singing her song for the showcase.
Which was the Les Mis one?
Yes.
Okay. Well, I haven't heard that one, so we're at odds on that one. But Joshua, I think we do have to give you a listen to Travelling Soldier. So
Yeah, cool.
yeah, and Orla has just looked daggers at me. So I'm in trouble here now in the studio. Anyway, looking forward to that. It's, we say, Limerick people going up to Galway, and as I said, you said that you'd be doing the reverse at some stage.
Yeah, so I teach at the moment in Raheen Dance Studio. I teach there every Friday, so if anyone wants to come on down, it's, for me, it's just like, it's a great experience. It's a great skill to have. It's a great skill to develop. And also we want to create our little community of singers as well, that, you know, it's nice to have people who understand and who think the same way as you as well.
Yeah.
So it's to trying to build that in Limerick and in Galway.
And that's in Raheen. Is it any particular days of the week, or is
Fridays.
it just
Fridays. I teach in Limerick on Fridays.
Okay.
In the Raheen Dance Studio.
Right. And Joshua, unfortunately, you're not teaching in Limerick, and you won't be there, but you will be in Galway. Any other few words? Because it hasn't just been just about music in the discussion here. We've touched on a few things where you can learn stuff along the way.
Never just about music. Music is just the tool.
Oh,
Yes, it is. Yeah. Yes, it
getting
is.
very profound. Any other words for the wise, or any other kind of quirky things that you kind of want to partake? Because we said your teaching style is what would you say to Limerick people on just, I suppose, just coming out of a really good week and really good weather, and then maybe not so good, and so on. Oh, what was your thought for the day, Joshua? If that's not putting you on the spot.
I think the thing that I always start off with every single day before I look at my emails, before I do anything, is I just start with being grateful for absolutely every little small thing that has happened in my life that week or in general. You know, I think of my parents are from West Africa, you know, and I had the privilege of you know, going back there and seeing how it was, you know, and seeing how life is there. And, you know, life in many places is tough. And so, you know, there are people there that are really suffering. And my dream has always been to, you know, with my success is to be a light to others and to be generous towards others, so that, you know, I can get this, that I can give the same kind of impact and growth and life-changing experience that I was given. So I'm grateful every single day for whether it's a negative or positive circumstance. I'm very, very grateful for I'm very grateful for life. There was a point I nearly died myself because of an illness. So I'm very, very, very grateful for life. And then, you know, everything is a matter of perspective. Everything in life, sometimes you could see a really difficult situation in life, and then you go away, you have a break, you come back to that situation, it seems different, and it's not because the situation has changed, because you have changed. So we should do everything we can to raise our way of thinking, our consciousness, and we will find solutions to pretty much everything.
Yeah. And again, carrying that, was the philosophy in terms of music across to life there. It seems to be a general philosophy that you have there, Joshua, that you've got all these bits where all the mistakes or all the things that went wrong or how you dealt with them, which applies to music and what you were training. That's what has made us. So even the stuff that you absolutely hate that happened last year or the hate that happened 5 years ago, it's made you part of what you are today.
Absolutely, 100%. Yeah. I totally agree with that.
So it's carrying the same philosophy as life across. And we don't do it often enough because, as you said, something happens someday and the car doesn't start. Some days it doesn't bother you. Some days it's the worst thing that happens in the world. And if you were in West Africa or someplace, things could be a lot tougher. And there's lots of places tougher in the world. I've often wondered when you walk out the door and say, oh, I'm having a bad day. And I felt like doing one of those Far Side cartoons, because if you think you're having a bad day, just realise the ant that was on the doorstep before you actually stepped out the door. Like, he's having a worse one. Anyway, looking forward to you coming to Galway. I suppose there's so much stuff that we could possibly have spoken about this evening, and I would like, I'm going to extend an invite. It could be fingers crossed. You're going to Galway. If you are making it to Limerick, as Caren said that she's going to hope and get you to Limerick, you'll pop into us, Joshua, you will?
Oh, that'd be my pleasure, mate. Be my pleasure.
Absolutely brilliant. It's been a pleasure having you, and Caren here as well in studio. Orla, quiet in the corner as she looks daggers at me once again.
I'm coming to get you.
We haven't. And fair play, actually, Joshua, for getting your tongue around the name Orla, another Irish word. We'll have to actually give a list of those. See how he gets on with those in Galway.
Yeah.
I'm really good with languages, actually, so I'll take up Spanish.
Actually, yeah. Considering came from West Africa, I'm not going to hang myself in terms of whether or not the native language would have been
Orla
English
will
there.
do that. We'll let her do that one. You can teach Josh some Irish.
Yeah. So lots to look forward to. You'll be touching on the Gael. You take him out to the Gael Talk just for the crack.
Sure, I'm in the Gaeltacht.
You're in the Gael Talk. And I just realised I used the word crack as well. Joshua, you've got an experience coming, getting your tongue around some of it. But looking forward to having you in Ireland. And as we said, we'll look forward to maybe having some of the acts that are going up to the showcase here on Limerick City Community Radio. So we'd absolutely love to have them on. And as we said, open invitation, Joshua, to pop in and not just mentor the singers, but mentor a few of the gang here as well.
Absolutely.
Accepted.
All right. Lovely having you, Joshua. And we'll leave you go at that. All right.
Thank you, buddy.
Thanks for joining us, and have a great day and safe flight over when you do make it over to Galway.
Thank you so much, guys. All
Cheers.
the best to you.
Thanks a million. Cheers,
Thank
Joshua.
you. Thanks.
Bye-bye.
And that was Joshua, who joined us on Skype. As I said, some little hiccups every so often. With the quality was pretty good, and hopefully you did catch all of that. Caren is here in studio with us just as we wrap up. So just to recap on the date, it's June, and the gang from Limerick will be heading up to Galway. June
It's July the 6th.
July 6th, sorry.
July 6th. It's on a Wednesday. It's in the Loft on 7 Bridge Street in Galway. And at the moment, I'm teaching in the Raheen Dance Studio in Limerick on a Friday. And our singers from there are going to travel up on the Wednesday to perform. And they'll meet Joshua. They'll be doing a pre-show warm-up event that, it'll be a good night out and a good crack. And you really get to experience what we do at Mad About the Voice Ireland.
Excellent. And Orla, you've been very quiet and in the corner.
You should hear her sing.
Yeah, we have done. Looking forward to heading up to Galway and pop in. You can't nod on the radio. We've told you that before. You can't nod on the radio. You've basically at Les Mis, because as I said, we've heard Travelling Soldier, but you did a song from Les Mis for the showcase.
Yeah.
And that's gone off to Joshua. He's given it the thumbs up. You looking forward to performing that?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Because one of the things we mentioned earlier on was where you've got different styles in music, and somebody gravitates towards a particular style. We loved Travelling Soldier, as we said, but then you've got something from Les Mis, or you've got something else. You're encouraging somebody to try something and so on. Would you have a preference, or do you like just trying out different things to see where you go?
Yeah, I like trying out different things. Musical theatre is like one I've stuck with for like ages, but I like going to like different kind of things as well. Yeah.
Okay. So basically, it does sound like, in terms of trying different things and getting a little nudge in the right direction and getting some encouragement, things you're in good hands, yeah?
Yeah. Well, she's very young, and it's good to experience these things. There's no point saying, oh no, you don't want to go there because you won't like it, because you never know.
You don't know.
And she could be the next West End star, or she could be a hip hop singer. You never know.
Yeah, and likewise then was something you've experienced. I do remember, I will say, that there was a couple of people on our road who played the piano, and they had to go to piano lessons while we were out playing soccer and stuff. That kind of, oh yeah, right, fine. And then later on, I wish I could play it. You'd absolutely love to be able to play it. Now, I did manage the guitar to some extent.
There was one story that I heard, and someone went up to this guy and he's like, oh, I'd love to be able to play piano like you. And he said, no, you wouldn't. He's like, no, I would. I'd love to. And he went, no, you wouldn't. He was like, no, I'd love to. No, you wouldn't, because if you did, you would have started to learn. If you really want to do something, you'll take the initiative to go and do it.
Yeah, you will. Because it's when you see the result, and Joshua was touching on it there, you don't want necessarily to go into an expert who can, oh, gee, but I'll never manage that. But when you see the result that's the result, as we said, of hard work, of actually the guys who did, that I was
breaking it down.
There. But it's also guys that did give up their Wednesdays or whatever else, and we weren't out playing soccer with us. That result is there for a reason. It's not just kind of,
they didn't just wake up like that.
Yeah. So anyway, loads and loads of good advice. It does sound like it's going to be a great weekend and a evening up in Galway.
We're looking forward to it. It's our first one, so it's our first Mad About the Voice Ireland showcase.
Okay.
Yes.
Because when you spoke in there, you said that Joshua was over the first time 2 years ago. So.
Yeah, he's done workshops. We've done workshops all along with our singers. So now this is their first time that they're actually debuting the show.
So this is the result of all the hard work that you've been doing over the last while. Right, looking forward to it. I know Richard's going to be up there. So he'll probably, hopefully, get a few clips from us and get a few words from the people who are involved. And maybe a few more words from Joshua as well. So looking forward to that. Many thanks for coming in. It's been a pleasure. And the opening invitation that we had for Joshua is right up to yourself as well. And we do have an art show, by the way. So if you've got anything coming up, or you've got anyone who's talented, send them in. Is that okay?
Will do.
All right. Many thanks.
You.
That's Dr. Caren Hession. The doctorate was in
Rhythm and Beat.
Rhythm and Beat. Okay. With horses. All right.
And music.
Okay. Many thanks for popping into Limerick City Community Radio. I've been Liam Byrne, and many thanks to Joshua Alamu and Caren Hession and Orla as well. All right. Many thanks for your company, and we'll talk to you again soon. Cheers.
Thank you.
Don't forget to follow us on Facebook. Just search for Limerick City Community Radio or www.facebook.com/Limerick City Community Radio.
Coming to you online on lccr.ie 24/7. Keep it here on LCCR.